All right. Good evening, Powerhouse team. It is Monday, March 6th. It's insane to think about how quickly we have come into March, and it's March Madness time, guys. I am excited. I hope that you guys are too. It's important as we start this month that we have a strategy in place, right? As we get going. And what does that strategy look like? What does your strategy look like? Start with the end in mind. We have 5 weeks. It's 5 weeks or go hard or go home, right? To earn as much cash as we can, to earn as many bragging rights as we can. And so I want you guys to be focusing on call aheads. Call aheads will help you get in as much activity as possible. Listen, I don't care if you are scared of the phone, you got to get good at the phone. And tomorrow morning, you're going to see me and Kristen break down the nitty gritty of the phone approach to help you for March Madness. So get good at the phone. Focus on your digitals, focus on your Facebook leads, focus on any leads that you can get quickly at a good price to give you as much activity as possible. And then shoot for your 4 to 5 presentations. 4 to 5 presentations. Anything that you can do to up the ante just a wee bit from our 3 presentation minimum to give yourself that competitive edge. It's these small, simple things that we can focus on that are going to help us write more business, keep more business, and really show up and show out for March Madness. Okay. Focus on 2K a day, a 10K week for 5 weeks, 2,000 AP, reverse engineer that, break that down. That's a really great goal to have. And then the carriers to focus on are going to be Royal, America, Omaha, Transamerica. Really great carriers for you to focus on that are going to count this month to help you as much as possible, keep as much business and production for this month. Guys, I'm so excited for tonight's Zoom. I hope that you guys are. We've got a really special guest. And, I was thinking, kind of about our webinar that we just came off of and raising the bar and raising the standard. And I have actually been having a few conversations with this girl that we're having come on tonight. And she is just blowing me away with her coachability, with her ability to write at a high level, with her ability to recruit at a high level, to get into management, have some setbacks, and then to push forward out of those pushbacks. And so I want you to lean in tonight. If you are a new agent, just getting started, maybe not even licensed yet, you're going to learn from her. If you are a top producer on the team, you will learn from her. If you're a sales manager, there are things that you can learn. So I hope that we're all humble enough to lean in, write on our Notability, get on our iPad, and take this in to make us better this month, this year. So without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Jamie Maddox. She is from the Thomason region. Give you a little bit about her, and then we'll kind of get into the nitty gritty. I love that word, that phrase for tonight. Okay. So she is originally from Huntsville, Alabama. So she's an Alabama girl like Chris and Chuka Houghton. Okay. She's played sports her whole life. And so she has that competitive edge coming from the sports background. She went to school for kinesiology, probably screwing that up and saying that wrong, and exercise physiology, something that just goes over my head, just like insurance did 7 years ago. What else? She built a very successful career in fitness training. And in 2020, she was let go unexpectedly, like a lot of us, right, in corporate America, and started her journey with North American Senior Benefits. And she went all in from day one. Hasn't looked back, and she says it was the best decision that she's ever made in her life. She's single with no kids except for 2 little munchkins that she calls Splat and Cal. She is a cat mom. We have a few of those on the call. And so there's a lot of things I feel like we can learn from her. And so if without further ado, Jamie, do I have you on? Jamie?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was trying to get unmuted. I thought I was already unmuted.
There we go. I'm going to turn you up. It's okay. Well, I'm excited. We've spent some time together over the last couple of months. You actually reached out to me. What was it? Right after a regional conference. And what I love about you is that you've been very coachable. You have sold at a high level. You've done things at a high level. Sometimes I feel like you haven't even given yourself credit for. And so I love that. And I want us to all take this away tonight from you. I know that you've written over 200,000 production. And I think that's something that we all attain to. And I feel like sometimes we feel like it's not always attainable for whatever reason. And we just have to set that bar high. And so I want you to kind of take us back. What I love about your story is three things. You can kind of break it down into three compartments. Your first year, you did 200,000. Your second year, you didn't quite do 200K, but you did 179,000. But get this, you hired 10 agents. Okay. So second year, you still sold at such a high level, recruited, field trained, things that people think are impossible. You did. Then guess what? You lost agents. It's okay. That's okay. Guess what? I've been there. About half the team that's building or recruiting or hiring right now has been there, right? So they can understand. And now what are you doing? You're rebuilding. And you're doing it with a coachable spirit to where you've reached out to me for accountability, who I have nothing to do with your hierarchy, but you wanted that extra accountability. You wanted that extra coaching. Anything that you could do to make yourself better, you did. And you were vulnerable in that. And so that's what I want us to lean in on, is all of these things that you've done. So take us back. Just kind of tell us your story. How did you get into insurance in the beginning? Just straight up. What got you?
Okay. Well, actually, the day that I was fired from the fitness industry, Abel Hernandez had texted me that morning. And randomly, I had met him like a year before then at this real estate investing seminar that we went to. We both signed up for it. And I hadn't really heard from him in a year. And then just out of the blue, one morning, he reaches out to me and he's like, "Hey, Jamie, just want to check in, see how you're doing. I know you're probably crushing it in the fitness industry. Just want to let you know that, my company is hiring in the Alabama area. I'm looking for a quarterback, and I think you'd be really great. I don't know if you're, interested in having a conversation, but would love to talk with you." And in that moment, in that morning, I was still working at Orange Theory and had a great job and was very happy. But for whatever reason, I decided to say yes to him. And that afternoon at 4 p.m., I was fired unexpectedly. I was called into a meeting and I was fired on the spot. And so I was actually kind of like, well, I guess this phone call with Abel actually might be interesting to hear about. So yeah,
I love
after I
that.
had my
Let me come in just for a second, because a
okay.
lot of us are right there. A lot of us are, we were you, right? Where that, fit hit the shan, and it was at the right time that someone reached out to us. And so if you were building or if you were recruiting, don't underestimate the ability just to say, "Hey, listen, I think that I'm looking for a quarterback. I think that you would be a really great fit." Simple. It's simple. It is nothing crazy. I think that you would be a quarterback. You show exceptional whatever ability, and what you're doing now, you'd be a great quarterback. And it's, at some point it's up to, I don't know, the universe or, things aligning, but you lost your job that day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if Abel would not have reached out to you and you lost your job? Would you be here?
Yeah. Probably not.
So
Probably not.
people need you to reach out and say, "Hey, I think you'd be a quarterback." That's awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And so my conversation with him, I really just wanted to know more about it. My biggest thing was, I had never been in sales before. So could I do it without sales experience? So when he told me there was like a proven system that I would just learn and follow, I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I didn't want to have to go reach out to all my friends. I did not want to do that. And when he told me there were leads that were available, they were exclusive to us. People were requesting information. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then from there, it was just a matter of like, would I like it or not? Because I'd been in fitness for so long and it was my passion. And I was afraid that moving into something new like this that I didn't know about, that I wouldn't like it at all. Or if I didn't like it and I was making a lot of money, it wouldn't matter. But he basically just said, Jamie, if you put in the same energy and effort into this job, this career that you've put into the fitness industry for so many years, there's no doubt in my mind that you will not make six figures your first year. And that was the big thing for me. I was like, I had never seen that kind of money and never thought or imagined that I could even make that kind of money in fitness because I'd been doing it for 16 years and I'd done everything I knew to do to try to make the most money that I could. And I was capped out and I was busting my butt. So when he told me kind of all those things, I got in the car with him, did the ride along to see what the day to day would look like. And when I saw him, close some deals, do a simple presentation in the house every single time, I was just like, okay, I can do this. Let me give this thing a try.
I love that. So you're telling me it was something as, again, simple as I need a quarterback and then a proven duplicatable system. You didn't have to talk to your friends and family. How many of us underestimate the fact that we have leads? Hello, right? Sometimes we get that like streak of wanting to complain about leads, but we have freaking leads. Like we're spoiled. There are so many other IMOs that don't even have leads, let alone a lead system. And I love that. Okay, so he told you you could make six figures. You saw him do the darn thing. All right, tell us what's next. So that's how you got into the business.
Yeah.
Let's really break down. It's 8:13. We've got about 15 minutes, 17 minutes.
Okay.
Tell us first year. How the heck did you do 200,000 your first year with no sales background? We want to know the nitty gritty down to the hours you worked, the schedule you had, the leads you worked, the mindset, everything that went into you doing 200,000. We want to know. Then we're going to actually dissect what it took to do 179,000 and also hiring 10 agents. Okay. So those are the two things we're going to focus on. Tell us first year.
Say what?
Tell us first year.
Okay. First year. So starting out, there were, three main things that looking back, really just got me off to a fast start. The first thing was a commitment that I made to myself. So I had made a commitment to myself that no matter what, I was going to do this for an entire year. No matter how bad it was, no matter how much I hated it, whether I was failing, whether I was succeeding, I was going to give myself a chance to win. But I knew it would take me probably a year to get there. And if I got to the end of the year and I wasn't happy and I wasn't successful and I hated my job or I wasn't making money, then I could quit and I could go back to the fitness industry and be okay. At least I tried. Okay. So I first made that commitment to myself the 1 year. And then it was just all about having belief in myself. I went to a conference like the weekend before I was going to start working in the field. And I saw these girls up on stage talking about how much money they were making. And it was like $10,000, $12,000 a month. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if these girls can do it, I can do it. I don't have any different presentation than they do. And so I had that belief in the system and in myself that I could do it. And then when I actually started, I gave myself realistic expectations. So my mindset going into this was that this is going to be so freaking hard. Like I'm going to get rejected all day, every day. I'm going to get no after no after no after no. So I went in with the expectation that I was going to get no's all the time. And I probably wasn't going to get yeses. So I gave myself the opportunity to really just think about, I'm going to learn this thing and I'm going to spend the first 90 days just letting myself fail and letting myself learn and experience what this whole thing is about. And they tell me that if I put in enough activity that I'll earn as I learn. Okay. So when I actually got out there, like the definition of frustration is unmet expectation. So my expectation was already at the bottom. So when I was getting into houses and I realized that every senior wasn't mean and that people would actually let me in and I could give presentations, that lifted my energy. That gave me a positive mindset because my expectation was so low that when I would get in, I was staying on a high all the time because I was like, dang, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And so I think just that mind shift of rather than going into something and thinking, oh, I'm going to be a badass, I'm going to make all these sales, and then you get rejected left and right and you can't do it, then you're constantly in a negative mindset and bad emotions. So I just tried to flip the script on myself, I guess, like reverse psychology it. And that was how I really I kept a very positive mindset from the beginning. But I also set goals for myself. So I wanted to hit promotions fast. I wanted to get to AG1 as quickly as possible. I did not want to build my first year. I only wanted to sell. I wanted to master the sales process. and I want to get really good at it. And so that was what I focused on. I tried to hit AG2 my first 2 months in the business, and I tried to hit AG1 my second 2 months in the business. And I set my goals, my weekly goals based off of that. My numbers goals was like 5K a week, 20K a month. You know, you want to write what you want to net. So if I was trying to net 10K, I was trying to write 20K a month, 2 months in a row. I hit it. And so I shifted my goals the next 2 months, months 3 and 4, to 24,000 a month, and broke that down into weeks as well. And so I gave myself the goal, but I always gave myself a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal as well, something that would push me to continue in the week if I hit my goal early, just to help me make more money and just to keep me motivated. So if I hit 5K by Thursday, I wouldn't have stayed at home. So I had a very strict schedule. My action to these goals was I was knocking my first door at 10, and I wasn't coming home until it was dark, every single day. So in the beginning, you know, it got dark at 5 p.m. early on in the year. And I would go home at 5 p.m. Sometimes if I got in right before 5 p.m. into a house, I would stay, and then I would, you know, make the sale and go home after that. But for the most part, I was just working 10 to 5 during this time of the year. And then once daylight savings hit, of course, I started working until probably 8 p.m., but still getting out the door at 10. So that did give me some extra hours throughout, and that made a big difference. My activity stayed high. I focused on selling. I wasn't dilly-dallying around in my car on social media. I took my food with me every day. Like, I had snacks in the car and water. I didn't stop for lunch.
Yeah.
I invested $400, average $400 a week in leads. I always had 30 leads at the beginning of every week. I did 15 to 25 presentations a week. And I worked about.
Pause. I want you to start here. Good job. I want you to spend some time here because
Okay.
because this is, to me, the secret sauce that people are skimping on. They're skimping on leads, and they're skimping on presentation. So instead of doing 15 to, okay, guys, do you see what she just said? How many was she doing? 15 to what? 25. What that means is that she got into a house, number one, knew her damn script. Okay, listen, it doesn't have to be the same thing that everyone says, but she knew what she was going to say. She was practiced, number one. So she could actually, when she's practiced, what could you do? You could have your head on a swivel and say, hey, listen, does this house need me to be here for 30 minutes, or do they need me to be here for an hour and a half? Is there something on the table that's worth an hour and a half of my time or 30 minutes of my time? When you're in the field, can you do that? Can you physically say, I need to spend 30 minutes here, or I need to spend an hour and a half? That is the secret sauce. Can you do, some of you struggle to get 10 presentations. She's doing 15 to 25. That means that some of your presentations are 30 minutes. Okay. Now, $400 of leads. Now, I know that you're a check lead girl. You told me that you love check leads.
Well, but in the beginning, I wasn't. In the beginning, I didn't know what was good and what wasn't or whatever. I didn't have my lead. So Abel just coached me to do every type of lead, buy all the different types, and learn to work all of them and learn to sell all of them.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, if I ever did want to build a team, I would have to be able to practice what I preach. I would have to be able to know how to sell any type of lead. I also did the 4 knock. So if the lead wasn't home, I mastered my neighbor knock approach. And I would say 40% of my business my first year was off of cold knocks.
40% of her business was off of cold knocks. If you're not hearing this, 40% of her business is off of cold knocks by taking a lead and maximizing it. Okay, quick question. Everybody wants to know, well, how the hell do you get into 25 presentations? How do you make sure that happens on every given week? And then the caveat is, what do you do when you don't hit your goal? What do you do? How do you talk to? What questions do you ask?
Well, it's a numbers game. So I go back and I look at where things fell short, why, if I didn't give that many presentations, I have to look back at my week and say, what distractions got in the way? What got in the way? Or did I spend too much time, like you're saying, in a certain house or with a certain client that I shouldn't have?
Other question. Listen,
Yeah.
what I love what you're showing me right now is you're like, I don't really know what to say. All I did was I did it. Right. So you're on the phone, right? You maximize the phone, you maximize the door. You weren't a snob.
No, no, no,
No,
no,
no.
no.
What'd you do?
Girlfriend, I did not maximize the phone.
Didn't.
I've just started doing the phone. I'm being transparent, guys. My whole first year, I never made a phone call. I went to every single lead to their door, and I either got in, and if I didn't, I knocked on the stinking neighbors' doors until I got into theirs.
Pause again. Okay. So what would you say to someone that consistently says, I can't get in 15 presentations? They don't even have to say it. Their activity shows, I can't get in 15 presentations. What would you say to that person since you consistently did 15 to 25?
You just have to you have to make yourself get in front of more people. You have to talk to more people. I mean, if you're not getting in 15 presentations, then I would say you're probably just running lead to lead and accepting the fact that they're not home. So you're just going to drop to the next one.
Again, another pause. Because listen, this is so good. Accepting the fact that they're not home. Oh my gosh, mind blown. Accepting the fact that they're not home. Literally, as a coach, eagle eye view, if you're consistently doing 7 or 8, 9 presentations versus 15 to 25, that's what you're doing. You're accepting the fact that they're not home versus taking that lead and saying, you know what? 40% of my business is going to come from me being resourceful and hitting the neighbors. I need you guys to hear this. How many hours did you work your first year?
How many hours total?
Yeah.
I don't know how many hours total, but I mean, I worked Monday through Friday. I worked every other Saturday, half a day. And I probably took a total of like 8 weeks off of the year for like vacations and stuff like that. So I like probably only worked like 10 months, really.
Do you feel like sometimes people make this a little bit more difficult with their mindset, with their mentality, the way that they think, and the way that they will refuse to just run the numbers?
Yeah, I mean, I think so because I mean, I still struggle with that stuff too. Like to this day, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go knock on that door. But, when you do it, it's just like about, hey, just if they're not home, go find somebody who is and just talk to them.
If they're not home, go find somebody who is. I really hope that this is taking away any and every excuse that someone has as to why a lead doesn't work. The door's not open, the phone's still ringing. Like seriously, because now let's transition. We've got 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Because Ashley is talking tonight on
Yeah.
Miss Khalid.
Okay.
Okay. But listen, let's take another look. So
Okay.
first year, 200,000. Second year, 179.
Yeah.
Right? And you hired 10 agents.
Okay. I didn't hire 10. There were 8 of us total, including me. So 7.
Okay. Okay.
But I did hit SM1 and SM2 with that group.
Okay. Let's talk about that, how you structured, and then we'll pivot with a few tips on how you're rebuilding. How did you manage doing 179,000 a year? Okay.
Yeah.
With still having, having phone calls, recruiting, field training, coaching during that second year in the business?
So I would say in the first like 6 months of the business, I was really just trying to recruit. So I had Shelly in the beginning, my one girl who's a high rider like me. And then I did Indeed and ZipRecruiter. I recruited 2 cold market. I recruited 2 warm market from a little social media that I was doing. And then Shelly hired 2 warm markets. Okay. So those were the new agents. They all kind of came on board all at the same time, like June and July. So really from January till June, I was able to ride at a high level because it was just me and Shelly. Shelly picked it up quick. She didn't need me a whole lot. And so I was just still riding. So June and July was kind of that time frame when I had my new agents in my car and I was training them. And then from there, once they were all kind of up and running, that's when I just decided, okay, me and Shelly are super high riders. We probably count for maybe 2 or 3 agents each with how much business we write. If I can just get these guys off to a fast start, I might be able to hit SM2, run hard for it right here at the beginning with just 8 of us. So that's what I decided to do. So how did I do it? Well, team goals, everyone was on the same page. 25K a week, that's our goal. All right. I wanted to create a team culture. So I went on ahead and created a team name. We were the A team. We started out doing coffee culture cross sell, team cross training. I ran a team boot camp as well one weekend where they all came out and I did like a 2-day training for them. I did Zoom calls at 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I kept my writing at a high level during the day. And then I always did strategic incentives and competitions. And I made sure I was recognizing them on social media. I also had Abel and Shelly were both running for promotions with me. So Shelly was running for SM3 and Abel was running for SM1. And so we were really rallying all together. And so for those 2 months, we just went really, really hard. And I ended up hitting it in October. And then I was really that's when everything kind of started to like lose steam as far as building goes. I didn't continue to hire and build, and that's when things started to kind of go down for me.
Pause. This is the thing that I want you guys to hear. Personal momentum, and you guys have heard me say it 1,000 times till I'm blue in the face, but it's good to see it from someone outside of our team. Okay. Your personal production breeds your team production. But this is the caveat. If you quit hiring, if you quit, you will lose steam. And this is what happened. And she's being vulnerable enough to come on here and tell us these things, right? We know it. We're going through it. There's people on the call that are going through it. I have been through it myself, right? That's why I had a 3-year-long lull. I say it all the time, right? Because that happened to me. And then you have this rebuilding time. But what we can tell you is if you're on the precipice of just starting to build, 2 things. You need to sell at a high level because it creates your momentum. It puts you in rhythm for the business and puts people wanting to be in the car to watch you, right? Okay. And then when they're in there, you cannot stop. You have to make sure that you create a rhythm to where you're having those conversations, putting those people in your car. Just like you, what are you doing now? You're rebuilding. There's so much to be learned in the rebuilding process. But what do we learn by? Mistakes and mentors, right? We're getting a little bit of both from Jamie, right? Because she's been there. She's done at a high level. We have one person on our team that did over 200,000 last year. Okay. You did 200,000. You're female. Not that there's anything different between a male and a female, right? We're both like, do the darn thing, but still, and you're going through the same things that we've all gone through and you're being vulnerable. And that I think it resonates with me as a junior partner. That's why I wanted to have you on here, is that I still learn from you doing the things that you've done. Do you know what I mean? And so, we've got 0 minutes, guys. It is 8:30. Okay. Any parting words that you have for us, whether it come to rebuilding, I should say, because that's where you're at right now, or when it comes to selling at a high level, because I really think that you can talk to us in those 2 things.
Yeah, I would just say this. Everything that I've done from the very beginning when I first started was I looked at the people who are where I wanted to be and who were making the money I wanted to make and who were at the level that I wanted to get to. And I copied them. I found out what they were doing and I reached out to them, how much they were running, whatever it was. I found out what they were doing and I made the decision to literally copy them. I did that when I wanted to write at a high level. And I did all that stuff that I did to get to run to SM2. I didn't know how to do that, but that's what Keith told me to do. That's what Abel told me we needed to do. And he's like, trust me, if you do this, you will hit SM2. I didn't want to do it, but I just did it because they told me, and I knew what I wanted. And I knew I had to get out of my comfort zone to get what I wanted,
So you
even though
didn't
I
know
didn't.
it all? You
Huh?
didn't know it all?
No.
You're kidding me. Oh my gosh. Okay, just making sure. All
And
right.
now, yeah, and now it's like this year, I'm completely just taking all of the advice of you and the other RVPs and partners in our company that are successful, and I'm trying to implement everything that they're doing in their business to get to where they are. And that's it. Like, just find the people that are doing what you want to do and freaking do what they're doing, and you'll get where you want to go. And don't be afraid to take risks.
I love that. Don't be afraid to take risks. Number two, and just a few things is $400 in leads. Don't be afraid to take risks on having people to see. Okay. You did $400 in leads, 30 new leads at least a week. You did a minimum of 15 presentations, between 15 and 25 presentations. You maximized every single house, getting in and out within 30 minutes to an hour and a half. Knowing your script, knowing your presentation, hitting the T, running the T, all the things that we talk about, but you just actually executed on a level that most people don't execute on. That is the caveat. You're just executing on a level that most people refuse to do. So it is 8:33. I've taken up 33 minutes of your time. We are 3 minutes into the building call this evening. I appreciate your time. I hope you had some nuggets. And if you guys have any questions for me, for Jamie, send them my way. I will send them to her. We appreciate your time, Jamie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was a huge honor, Laura.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great one. Ciao.
Bye.